Hey there, welcome to Free Spirit Yoga. One of the things I love the most about practicing yoga is the feeling of having more freedom in my body. Yoga invites us to send our breath to the places that feel locked, full of tension, congested. And so the practice helps us to ease with a gentle awareness. So find your freedom as we move through our practice today. Let's go ahead and get started in a kneeling position. So we'll come into our tabletop position. And as we come into tabletop position, we're going to go ahead and start to incorporate movement with the breath. But before we start to move, look at your hands. Spread your fingers wide. Press palms to the mat. Position the wrist under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Now we're ready to move with the breath. So as we inhale, we'll let the belly lower towards the mat, tailbone lifts. And as we exhale, we'll lift the upper back, tailbone lowers. Continuing to move in this way, inhale, soften the belly. Exhale, lift the upper back. Notice how exaggerated you can make this movement. Take a couple more rounds. And then find a neutral tabletop position. From here, looking at your hands, take the hands one hand placement forward. So this way you're giving yourself a little more space as we transition to downward facing dog. To get there, we'll curl the toes, lift the hips, send the hips back. So think about positioning the ears between the biceps and think about sending the chest towards the thighs. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, you'll feel a really deep stretch there. If it's too much intensity, you can bend your knees. Think about sending the heels towards the mat. And in your down dog, if you'd like, you can bend one knee at a time. Noticing that the leg that's straight, you'll feel a nice stretch going up the leg into the hip. Just giving yourself some time. Now, if down dog is a position that's not comfortable in your body, especially if you've got any wrist issues, then child's pose might be a better option for you. So in child's pose, you're bringing your hips down to your heels. Knees are open wide for hip opening. Arms are extended in front. And taking whichever option works for you for 3 more rounds of breath. Staying in the pose, hearing the sound of your breath. Now from your down dog or your child's pose, if you're in child's pose, go ahead and come into tabletop position. If you're in down dog, you can stay there. I'm going to demonstrate from tabletop how we're going to come into our knee down lunge. So this is Anjayanasana, and I'm actually going to just rotate my body so I can be closer to my blocks. So if you've got blocks, you're going to want to invite them to your practice today. And the reason why the blocks are helpful is because if you have trouble bringing one leg forward, you can use the support of the blocks to get a little more lift. So as we take our hands to the blocks, we'll lift one knee, lift it as high as you can, and then flex your foot so your toes don't drag as you step your foot forward. Now, as you step your foot forward, press your hips forward. As you press the hips forward, if your knee is coming past your toes, go ahead and shimmy the foot forward. So the knee is tracking above the ankle. And then take the blocks under the shoulders. So this way, the shoulders are aligned above the hips, ears above the shoulders. This way you're not dumping weight forward. So we're in our knee down lunge, Anjaneyasana. You have got the option where you can stay here with your hands being supported by the blocks. If you would like a different variation for the arms, especially if you would like a shoulder stretch, then we'll take the option for eagle arms. So to come into eagle arms, we'll reach the hands out, reaching the fingers to opposite directions. Take an inhale breath, gaze forward. Now as you exhale, cross your right arm over your left, bend your elbows, bring your palms together. Now practice keeping the shoulders low, just lift the elbows. Hold for 3 rounds of breath. On your next exhale, gently unwind the arms. Inhale, reach the fingers out. Exhale, take the hands to the blocks. Now send the hips back. As you send the hips back, let that left leg straighten and then lift the toes. So just the heel of the left leg is connected. The right hip is above the right knee. So we don't want the hips going back any further. Now, we're gonna get a deeper stretch for the hamstring. As you inhale, gaze forward. And then as you exhale, bend the elbows. Think about bringing your torso towards your left leg. You might keep your hands on the blocks, or you might remove the blocks if you can bring your palms or your fingertips down to the mat. This is a really nice option if you can go deeper, if your body's ready for that deeper stretch. If not, no problem, you can stay on the blocks. On your next exhale, see if you can fold a little deeper. One more round of breath. Inhale, lift the head, gaze forward. If your palms are on the mat, come onto fingertips. If you were working with the blocks before, go ahead and invite the blocks back underneath your hands. And then from here, we'll slide that left foot back. Bring the left knee in line with the right. Take a full round of breath. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Now we're gonna do that on the other side. So to come into the other side, you'll lift the right knee, lift it as high as you can, and then flip the toes, flex the foot, step the foot forward. As you step the foot forward, press the hips forward. Shimmy the right foot forward if you need to get the knee tracking above the ankle. Send the hips forward. Now we're gonna decide here if we wanna keep our hands on the blocks or if we wanna come into eagle arms on this side. If you want to take the eagle arm option, inhale, reach your fingers out. Exhale, now cross the left arm over the right. Bend the elbows, see if the hands or the palms can meet. And as you continue to press your hips forward, keep the shoulders low, just lift the elbows, hold and breathe. As you take your next exhale, unwind the arms. Inhale, reach the fingers out. Exhale, take the hands down to the blocks. Now, just send the hips back enough to get that left hip above the left knee. Right leg straightens. Lift the right toes off the mat so just the right heel is connected. So we're going to explore the hamstring stretch on this side. Remember, as you lower down on an exhale breath, if you don't want the blocks, you can always bring your fingertips or your palms down to the mat. Now fold forward. Think about bringing your torso towards your right leg and just breathe here. Find the corners of your body that feel stuck and expand the free-flowing energy of your breath into those places. We've got a couple more rounds of breath. Check in, see if you can fold deeper on your next exhale. Inhale, lift the head. Come onto your fingertips if you're on your palms. And then from here, if you're working with the blocks, bring them back underneath the hands. Slide that right foot back, bring the right knee in line with the left. Now from here, we're going to change the station of our body from kneeling to standing. So we don't need the blocks unless you want the support of them. I'm going to demonstrate how to get there without the blocks. If you want to work with them, just keep them underneath your hands. So I'll start off in the tabletop position, but with the hands walking forward. Then curling the toes just like we came into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, I'll slowly step my feet towards my hands, bringing my feet to the top of the mat. Inhale as a half lift, my palms find the shins. I reach the crown of my head forward. Now, as I exhale, I'm going to go ahead and come into a forward fold. Just letting my arms dangle for a couple rounds of breath, stretching the back of the body. Giving time for the spine to decompress. Just fully relaxing my head and my neck. And then from here, I'll bend the knees and I'll slowly start to rise up, taking all the time that you need. There is no rush. Coming into mountain pose. This is our standing position. In our mountain pose, we bring our arms by our sides, palms are facing forward. We want the feet hip distance. Looking between your 2 feet, see that there's about 6 inches between the arches of your feet. And maybe you lift the toes, spread them wide, rock towards the toes, rock towards the heels, just getting settled here into the standing foundation. Now from here, we're gonna come into a goddess pose. So you can go ahead and step 1 foot back, and as you do that, rotate so that you're facing the long edge of your mat. Now, as you do this, look down to your feet. As you look at your feet, you want all 10 toes facing the same direction, and you want the pinky sides of the feet parallel to the short ends of the mat. Now, once we come into this wide-legged position, we're gonna send the toes slightly out, heels slightly in, and we'll soften the knees. Just softening the knees, preparing to come into goddess pose. Now, take the palms to the thighs, bend the knees even more. As you rest your hands on your thighs, think about lowering the tailbone, straightening the arms. Now we're gonna hold here for 5 rounds of breath. Go ahead and start. Take a deep inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let it breath. Just a few more rounds of breath. As you breathe, allow this pose to fuel who you really are. Free to choose in this moment how you will react to any discomfort. Let's take 1 more round of breath. And then press your feet to the mat, rise up, take a full round of breath here. All right, we're gonna come into triangle pose. So to come into our triangle pose, this is one that you might want the support of a block. You might not need it. I will demonstrate with the block to show you how it can support you. So let's start off by taking the pinky sides of the feet parallel to the short ends of the mat again. Now your right foot, rotate just the right toes to the short end of the mat. Keep the left foot as it is. Keep both legs straight. Now the block is going to go to the inside of the right ankle if you feel like you might want that support. If you feel really stable here and you want to go deeper, you can open the feet wider, but this might be a good starting point. Now, inhale, lift the arms up. Turn your head to look to your right middle finger. Reach your right hand forward. Feel the left hip go back. And then rotate the arms so that your right hand or fingertips find the block. Left fingers reach up, see if you can gaze up. Now, if it hurts your neck to look up, you can rotate your head to look down. So maybe you're looking to your block. If you're not working with a block and you need a little less intensity, you can bring your hand to the inside of your thigh. You might be able to bring your fingertips all the way down to the mat. Okay, so what's important here is stacking the arms, not necessarily how low you go. I find it more comfortable to work with the block. Everybody's different. See what your body needs in this moment for one more round of breath. All right, on the next inhale, we're gonna rise up, take a micro bend in that right knee, and then use your energy, bring the block with you. Exhale, bring the arms down, turn the right toes facing the same direction as the left toes. So all 10 toes are forward, back to where we started. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So now we're gonna turn the left toes towards the short end of the mat. Keep both legs straight. If you're working with a block, take it to the inside of the left foot. Reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. Now reach the arms out. Turn your head so that you're looking to your left middle finger. Reach your left fingers forward, feel the right hip go back, and then rotate the arms. So that left hand is looking for the floor, the block, or the inside of your thigh. Now open your heart, gaze up, reach up. Imagine that your fingertips are trying to tap the ceiling. Energetically pull the legs towards one another, strengthening the container of your body, extending the fingertips, expanding with freedom. Now find your breath. On your next inhale, we're going to start to come out, soften the left knee, arms rise up. Exhale, hands come down, turn the left toes same direction as the right toes. Now from here, start to heel toe the feet together. Once your feet get to hip distance, give yourself a full round of breath. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Now, if you're holding onto a block, you can go ahead and let it go, or you can bring it up to the wall if you think you're gonna need the support. So the next posture that I'm gonna demonstrate, I'm gonna use the wall to show you the wall as a prop for a great starting point. If this is a posture that you've done before, you're welcome to do it in the free space. If this is your first time, then I recommend staying with me at the wall. So this is gonna be our half moon pose. What I want you to do is come up to the wall if you're working with the wall, and you're gonna position your feet like you just did in triangle. So the toes that are closest to the block are gonna be facing the block. The opposite foot, you're gonna have your heel up against the wall. So same thing as in your triangle. Now to come in, we can come in as we are doing triangle. This is also a great opportunity to use the wall. But I want you to bend that front knee, rotate the arms, reach for your block, take the block in front of your foot about a foot, and then lift your back leg. Now, I've got this funky wall that's an A line, so I'm gonna demonstrate by bringing my hand to my hip. Notice that the leg that I have lifted, I'm pressing the heel against the wall, and I've got my foot flexed. Standing leg and block are supporting the body. You can extend that top arm if you'd like. You can gaze to your hand, or you can look down to your block. Decide what you need. This is our half moon pose. And from our half moon, we're gonna move into another variation, which is our half moon bow pose. Okay, sometimes you might have heard of this called knife pose. To set up, I'm gonna stay at the wall on this side. Now you might wanna take a little micro bend at the leg that you have next to the wall. You're going to bend the knee that you have against the wall. Take your hand to your foot. It might help to bend your standing knee even more. And then press your standing leg straight. Half moon bow pose. Hand can stay on the block, or you can take your hand down to the floor. For balance, it's going to be more comfortable to use the block. And the hand down to the floor would be the knife pose. We'll take one more round of breath. If the back of your knee hurts, take a micro bend at the knee. And then to come out, bend your standing knee, release your hand from your foot, bring your left foot in line with your right. Inhale, take a half lift, and then exhale, fold. Soften the knees. Inhale, slowly roll up to a standing position. All right, so those two postures were demonstrated at the wall. I'm gonna show you what they look like off of the wall. If you're not ready for that, please feel free to come back and do this side using the support of this entire wall space. If you feel confident in the free space, then we'll set it up there. So remember, we want to have one block in front of the foot. We'll start with the legs wide, and then I'm going to rotate the toes closest to the block to turn and face the block. From here, I want to connect that same side hand to the block. So I'm going to bend the knee and I'm going to bring my hand to the block. You could also think about coming in like you did for your triangle. Now, once you feel secure on the block, you might even take it forward. You're going to start to practice lifting your back leg. So play around with where this is comfortable for you. And you're going to flex that foot, okay? So hand can stay at the hip, or you can extend your arm up. This is depending on your level of comfort. So this is our standing half moon pose. Let's take one more round of breath, and then we'll move into our half moon bow pose. Take it in the free space or take it to the wall, up to you. Now, transitioning, soften the knee of the standing leg, bend the knee of the leg that you have hovering, see if you can connect foot to hand, and then re-straighten your standing leg. Nice stretch for the quad and the psoas. Just breathe. Feel yourself floating in the unlimited space between balance and falling. And if you wobble out, no worries. You can always get right back in. Soften the knee. Come out. Now take a full round of breath. Deep inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Maybe take a couple more rounds from this standing position. Know that as we transition now, we're going to go from standing down to the mat. All right, so from standing, we now come down to the mat. I want to give you an opportunity to try the bow pose if it was something that felt really uncomfortable from a standing balance position. So for this option of bow pose, you're going to come onto your belly. So just make sure that you're coming onto your belly in a really safe and comfortable way. I like to start in tabletop position, and then from here, lowering onto the forearms, and then sending the legs back one at a time. Now, as you come into your belly, know that you're in a prone position. Bow pose could be both sides of the body working at the same time, or a less intense version would be one side of the body at a time. So I'll demonstrate with the half bow first. So we'll go ahead and lower the belly, the chest, lower the forehead down, and just take a moment for this belly breathing. As you inhale, feel the belly pressing to the mat. And as you exhale, feel the belly soften. Take a few more rounds of breath, just getting settled now in this station of the body. Just noticing how it feels to get grounded after the standing options. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and lift your head. Come on to the forearms for support. Well, starting with the left side first, just bend the left knee. So you're bringing the foot up. Now you're going to lift the right arm, reach the right hand back. See if you can connect your hand to your foot. If you cannot connect your hand to your foot, don't worry. You can use a strap as an option, or you can simply leave your foot lifted and practice opening up that way. Now, the right arm is going to reach forward as if you're shaking someone's hand. Lift the right foot. Lift the left thigh. So check and make sure that both thighs are lifted off the mat. Press your foot to your hand. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, release the hand, let it go. Lengthen the left leg, lengthen the left arm. Take the forehead to the mat. Inhale, feel the belly pressing to the mat. Exhale, soften, let go. We're going to try that on the other side. So we'll go ahead and bend that right knee. Lift the head, reach the right arm back. See if you can connect your hand to your foot. If not, don't worry. You can try a strap for this one. Now, when you're ready, go ahead and lift your left arm, left leg, lift the right thigh. So both thighs are lifted, gaze is forward. This is our half bow. Feel into the pose. Remember, this is a more gentle option. Soft. Think about looking down to your mat. And then as you exhale, gently lower down, release the foot. Reach the right arm forward, lower the forehead down. Take a few rounds of breath. Now, if you want to try the full bow, both of your knees, take your hands back one at a time. Connect hand to foot one at a time. If you can make the connection of both hands to both feet, as you inhale, lift your chest, lift your thighs, gaze forward. Take a few rounds of breath in this bow pose. This is going to be one that you might want to avoid if you have low back issues. And on your next exhale, lower the thighs, release the feet, lower the arms, lower the forehead down, find your breath. We'll just lift the feet, thighs stay grounded. Take the feet to the left and then to the right and keep swiping the legs from side to side, just like windshield wipers on the car. Left to right, right to left, just releasing any tension. And because we did a few rounds of back bending, we're now going to take a counter stretch. So let's lengthen the legs, take the hands underneath the shoulders. Press the hands to the mat, straightening the arms, and at the same time, lift the hips. Now shift back into child's pose. Bring the big toes together. Let the knees be open wide. If you felt any discomfort in your low back, then I'm going to recommend bringing your knees together, feet together, arms by your sides, forehead to the mat. Now we're releasing the low back, relaxing the shoulders. And we want to take several rounds of breath here. So in this shape, in this pose, know that if your forehead is not touching down to the mat, that's okay. You can position a block, a blanket, a pillow, a bolster, anything that you have to support you. With each inhale, feel the belly pressing to the thighs. And with each exhale, soften, surrender to this shape. Find flexion in the spine after all of the extension. Know that child's pose is a really great posture for grounding,
for calming the nervous system, to help us sleep at night, to reduce anxiety. Exhale, let it go. Take your hands under your shoulders. As you inhale, start to rise up. Lift the head. Continue to lift the head until the crown of your head is reaching up to the sky. So now we find the straight spine, axial extension. We've got the shoulders above the hips, and we've got the ears above the shoulders. From here, we're going to transition to a seated posture called Gomukhasana, also known as cow face pose. This is going to be a really nice deep stretch for the hips. So to come into it, I like to bring the hands forward, take the feet to one side so that you can bring your seat down. Now, as you come into this option, know that in this posture, we're going to allow each breath to open expansiveness in the container of your body. If you've got really tight hips, this is going to be a great one for you. So to set it up, we'll take one leg down first, and then if your knee is out to the side, try to position the knee in towards the midline of the body with the foot out to the side. And then you're going to take your opposite leg on top. And you're going to hope that your dog doesn't get in the way of the practice. So as you come into this, you want to stack one knee above the other. You might be able to align the knee right above the bottom knee, but if you can't, if they're open a little wider, that's okay. Another really great option is if you have issues with your knees, or if this is too much compression, you can take a block underneath your seat so that you're lifting your seat higher. You can even position 2 blocks, blankets, pillows, however high you want to go. Now, what's really important is to keep the feet out to the sides so you're not actually sitting on your feet. So I'm going to take the choice to not sit on the block and make sure that I can shimmy myself from side to side and feel both of my glutes grounded so that I'm not on the feet. Now, you might already feel a really deep stretch in the hips, so you might just stay here. If this is way too much intensity, then you can straighten and extend that bottom leg. You'll feel a deeper stretch in the hamstring of the straight leg, but you'll also be working with the hip of the bent knee. So if it's okay to have both knees bent, take your fingertips in front of your feet. Inhale, reach the crown of your head up, and then exhale, walk your hands forward. Now, as you walk your hands forward and lower your torso towards your legs, you'll feel the stretch deepen at the hip. You might even be able to lower your forearms down onto the ground. All you need to do here is fold into the shape. Practice lengthening the breath if that's available. If you're holding your head up, relax it, let it go. And give yourself time to let that tension and congestion go from the hip. You might be feeling it more in one hip, or you might be feeling it in both. We're giving ourselves time to create space to find freedom in the hips, in the body. Continue to fold with each exhale. Internal rotation for the hips. We'll slowly start to come out. Inhale, gently lift your head. Exhale, walk your hands towards your body. Now we are going to do this on the other side, but before we do, let's incorporate a spinal twist. So the leg that you have above, go ahead and lift the knee so that you can bring the sole of your foot to the outside of your thigh. Now the knee that you have lifted, take the same side hand behind your hip, press your palm to the ground like a kickstand. Inhale, reach the opposite fingers up. As you exhale, twist, take your elbow to your thigh, and then look past your shoulder. Maybe you lower your hand down to your heel, and practice staying in the twist for a couple more rounds of breath. Spinal twisting is great for detoxing. Exhale, gently release. Facing forward, take your hands over to the other side and gently just bend the elbows, lower down, counter stretch. Inhale, rise up, back to center, and we'll do that on the other side. So the leg that's above now goes below. So we'll just switch up the legs. Remember how we started on the other side. As we bring one leg down, if the knee is out to the side, we want to try to position the knee in towards the midline. Then we take the opposite knee on top. Now, this side might feel totally different than the first side. So you might decide, hey, maybe I do want to sit on the blocks or pillow or prop. You might need something totally different. But as you set yourself up, try to stack that top knee above the bottom knee as best you can. This side is tighter for me today, so I'm noticing that it's harder for me to get that top knee directly above the bottom knee, but that's okay. This is where my body is today. I make sure that I'm not sitting on my feet. I shimmy from side to side. I feel both of my hips grounded down. And I know that if this is too much or if it becomes too much for me, I can always extend that bottom leg forward. So that option is great if you want to get the hamstring stretch as well. So once you've got the setup that you prefer, fingertips are going to come forward. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, walk your hands forward. All right, so that's going to be about it for me today. If you want to go further, you can continue to walk your hands further. You can come onto your forearms. You can lower your head down. Give yourself time to feel into this hip. Give yourself time to find that freedom, creating spaciousness in your body. Letting all of the tightness and stress release. Free spirit. As you continue to exhale, see if you can fold a little deeper. And from here, find the spaciousness in your breath. Inhale all the way to the top of the breath, all the way until you can't take in any more air. And exhale, slowly release, let it go. Maybe you take a sigh of relief. We've got just a few more rounds on this side. Stick with it. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, lift the head, start to rise up. Exhale, walk the hands towards the body. And once you find that straight spine, reaching the crown of the head up, shoulders above the hips, just give yourself a full round of breath here. Know that we're going to stay like this as we transition to come into that spinal twist. So we'll lift the knee, position the sole of the foot down to the mat. The knee that's lifted, take that same side hand behind your hip. Now the opposite fingers are going to reach up, and as you exhale, twist towards your grounded hand, hook the elbow to your thigh, and then continue to rotate, look past your shoulder. Maybe your hand drops down to your heel. Enjoy 2 more rounds of breath here. Exhale, rotate to center. And then take the hands over to the other side. Bring the hands down, bend the elbows, little counter stretch here. And then inhale, rise up. Back to center. Take another round of breath. And then we'll open that top leg out. And let's open the legs apart from each other. So we're in a wide-legged seated position. We want to open the legs as much as we can, but not to the point where they lift up and we've got space underneath them. So send the calf muscles and the hamstrings down. There is going to be a natural lift underneath the knees. If you notice that your feet are trying to point or trying to flex, just let them go how they naturally want to be. Now, in this position, we could fold forward to take a stretch for the inner thighs. That's one option. Another option is we can take a moving free flow to really liberate the sides of the body, the part of the human body that we stretch the least. So I'm going to demonstrate that option. I'll take the hands outside of the hips. Inhale, lift the arms up. Now exhale, bring one hand to the same side foot, lift the opposite fingertips straight up, and then take that on the other side. So we're just flowing from side to side. This is a really nice way to get some energy while we're grounded. It's also a really nice way to incorporate some strengthening into the shoulders. Now you can reach overhead as much as you'd like, as much as available. Keep moving from side to side. Keep opening up that side body. Now, as you do this, if you notice one side is tighter than the other, you can hold and pause and breathe into it. You can even bring your forearm down, or you can position your forearm on a block if you need a little more height. But know that you can take the option for a longer hold. Open the chest, see if you can gaze up. Feel a nice deep stretch in the side body from the hip to the arm. And then inhale, lift to center. Exhale, we're going to do that on the other side. So maybe the forearm comes down. Maybe you're working with the block. Reach. Remember, this side might be different. Stay where you are. I'm having a little harder time on this side with this little hip thing I've got going on for the microphone. Reach through the fingers. Feel the stretch in the side body. Reach, reach, reach. If you're collapsing at the chest, open the heart. Gaze up. If that hurts your neck, look down to the mat. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, take the hands down. Now bring the block in front of you. You might or might not want the block. We're going to take one more posture before we close our practice today. So keeping the legs in this wide-legged position, we are going to fold forward to stretch the inner thighs, as I was mentioning before that we could do from this shape. The block is going to be a really nice support underneath the ribs. You could use a second block to support your forehead if you want to. So I'll demonstrate with the block for the ribs. You want to bring your fingertips forward. Inhale, reach the crown of your head up. Exhale, lean forward. Take the block underneath the ribs to support, and then let the hands come forward. Relax the head, relax the neck. Remember, you can put a second block underneath your forehead if you'd like. Now, you don't have to use any props at all. You can lower down, just thinking about bringing your chest towards the ground. If you're using the second block for your forehead, it's going to look like this. That way you're not holding your body up in space, but you've got props to hold you, to support you, to bring the ground up to you. Nice deep stretch for the legs. I can even feel this in the calves and the hips, inner thighs, hitting a lot of different parts here. So this is a really nice posture for deep stretching, but also for grounding. Now find your breath.
Sigh of relief with each exhale. If you get to a point where you decide that you can go further, you can remove the blocks. Maybe walk the hands further in front, seeing about hinging at the hips even more. Just a couple more rounds of breath. Inhale, slowly lift your head. Exhale, slowly walk your hands towards your body. And as you pause here, just gently feeling the natural flow of your breath. Feel any parts of your body that might need a little more attention. And if there's a posture that you'd really like to round out your practice, please feel free to take it. Otherwise, you can switch up your legs to come into a comfortable position, joining me as we close our practice today. And before we close, know that at the end of your practice, if you're feeling like you need a little time of relaxation, it's a really great idea to come into Shavasana, the final resting pose. You can come into that. If you like that option, you know that it looks like this. If this is new to you, think about positioning your body in this star shape. Just removing any props that are in your way, letting there be space at the armpits, space at the feet. Tucking the chin towards the chest and closing the eyes. That's a really nice posture to take for several minutes. If you feel like you might fall asleep in that posture, then you can set an alarm thinking about how much time you would like. For this practice today, I would recommend about 5 minutes of Shavasana, but you can take it longer, you can take it shorter. If that's something that you're not interested in doing today, then you can close with me now. So wherever you are, however you have your body comfortably positioned, go ahead and just bring your hands outside of your hips. Inhale, lift the fingers to the sky, reach up. Let the palms meet. Exhale, bring the thumbs down the midline. So you're connecting your thumbs to your heart center. And once your thumbs find your heart, pause here. The body is a container in which you experience expansiveness and the freedom to creatively express who you are. Movement is awesome. You are awesome for giving yourself time in your body for your practice. Thank you so much for letting me guide you. The light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light within you. Namaste. See you next time.